right now. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Night House. But I have a special guest that's going to be with us tonight. And let me introduce our special guest. We'll go into this, and then we'll get into the proverb and maybe a little bit of house cleaning and see if we can make some great things happen for all of us on this episode tonight. Hello, Nana. Okay. First of all, I want to say something here before we even start this episode. I want to share something because I really believe in being honest with people and having integrity. And I've known Sam a short time, and this is just an observation that I have. And I find Sam to be real. I find Sam to be real and working through what he must with determination to help you and anyone in this path. That's been my observation of Sam, our special guest tonight on this edition, episode number 68. I will try to take on questions if possible. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see that in the chat area, but we are live. And Mid-Atlantic State, Sam, Crish, Mid-Atlantic State, East Coast area. He's with us via that area. He's a family man, former law enforcement of over 25 years, and a current insurance agent. Now moving in the direction of becoming a guidance coach, speaker, advocate against problem gambling. So we have him. I'm going to let him share just a little bit here. Say hello before I start boring you with more details about episode number 68 of Sunday Night Alive Power Hour. We're hoping to get something good out of this program. I really am. It's been a while since I've done an interview. By the way, I hope you guys can see me here. I'm actually live streaming on YouTube. We've got an interview that's taking place. So bring your notes, bring a notepad, a journal, a pen, bring your open mind. Let's see what we can get out of this to help us go forward faster, more permanent. So Sam, the platform is yours for right now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. My whole purpose of wanting to be here is hopefully to reach out and help someone, hopefully several people. But again, I'm going to be talking from just my experience. I just want to make sure that people realize, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not in the medical field. But what I am an expert on is my gambling addiction, as well as what I've done for my recovery. I haven't gambled in over 2.5 years. So I just want to make sure that somebody doesn't take the fact that I'm talking as like a counselor, none of that. I have no expertise in that area. But I have gambled. I'm 55. I started gambling when I was 10. And it just progressed. Then became a compulsive gambler. There's not a lot of things I can't talk about because I'm dealing with some legal issues. So there's a lot of things I can't get to talk about. But I can tell you this: if you continue to follow Santos, at some point you'll hear my entire story. And I think, I'm certainly not proud of it by any means, but I just think it's important that story gets out. And it's designed to help someone. This has been going on for about 3 years. There's not a whole lot that I haven't had to deal with in those 3 years. But I have found a way every time I run into a roadblock, something happens in my life that I'm going to make and turn my life around. I'm going to be a better person. Regardless of what is thrown at me. And I think, that's kind of the message that I want to be able to get out to people. I truly have a passion into helping people. I have done it for 30 years, and, this is just a different path for me. And, it's certainly opened up my eyes. Who would have thought that I would have become a compulsive gambler? I'd never, ever dreamed that I would ever be in this situation. And to be honest with you, I never even really knew there was such a thing as a compulsive gambler. So that is what I'm going to be able to do, is to get that message out that, there's a lot of people that have problems with gambling, a lot. And a lot of people are afraid to come forward. I was one of those. I was afraid to go and get help. So if I can prevent somebody going through the things that I have been going through, certainly a win. You know, I've spent 30 years in that field. Um, Literally have lost everything completely. You know, I'm rebuilding my life at 55. You know, family, friends, reputation, career, you name it, I've lost it. Um, I could have felt sorry for myself. There's a lot of things I could have done the opposite way, but you know, I realized, you know what, I'm going to be successful. When I talk about being successful, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about being successful for myself and to help other people. A lot of times, whether it's gambling, you know, and that's kind of what my niche is, because that's what I was, a compulsive gambler. But anyone that has an addiction, there's a lot of, and I'm not saying everybody, but there's a lot of people out there. Once you are an addict, that their perception is you can never go anywhere, you'll never be anything in life. Um, that's what a lot of people think. And I'll just be honest with you, that's the kind of the mindset that I had at one point. You know, if you were an addict, it was your choice. You just didn't want to get better. You know, this is what you want to do. That was kind of my mindset. I can tell you, when I went to rehab, I spent 30 days in rehab, and I was in the rehab with people who were alcoholics, drug addicts, gamblers. And when I realized more about the addiction, I mean, I literally stood up and apologized to the alcoholics and the drug addicts just for thinking the way I used to think. And you know, we need to change people's perception on that, on someone who has an addiction. There's nothing, you know, we're not people that have an addiction, you know, we're not at the bottom of the barrel, if you will. But that's what, and again, I'm not saying everyone. There's a lot of people that feel that. You know, when I tell people that I'm a compulsive gambler, they look at me like they're going to catch something from me. You know, not everyone, but again, I mean, you're going to hear a lot from me. I can guarantee you. I mean, it's going to be slow, but you're going to hear from me. I mean, I'm not going to sit back. I'm going to be as active as I can be to help as many people as I can help.
Thank you for sharing that. Now I know you're giving some good info right up front. Now let me do this real quick because I've got some questions that we're gonna share. And again, I obviously my heart and Sam's heart is to not only pull people out of the fire, but prevent people from falling into that fire that are very close to it. That's the goal that I feel I have for this episode. So let me just read this. This is the proverb that I read. Um, First Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. I've talked to Sam about this. Again, I'm not here trying to promote church or some religion. I do promote the Bible, and I do promote prayer as therapy for us to better ourselves. But we talk to ourselves. I talk to myself just like Sam does, and we were discussing this a couple days back. We do a lot of encouraging. You know, I was just reading that proverb that says that King David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. Well, I believe the reason why we're all here is because of grace. So when I say we encourage ourselves, we do encourage ourselves in our Creator. It's very important for us to have that kind of mind. We have that gift. We have that ability to really encourage ourselves in the most darkest moments. And sometimes we don't have somebody else, or we don't have anything else to help us. Now, I will read a little bit of my book, just a little bit out of the red book, a small thing. I'm not going to do it now because I want to start getting into asking Sam some questions. but I do want to do some house cleaning. We are going to be back here. We're working on being here on this program, and this is kind of a questions and answers type program, a little bit of education, motivation, inspiration for us to just become the best version of who we can become. It's not an easy deal. It's going to be a struggle for some, and it's a struggle in life, period, becoming the very best version. But you know what? You can, as challenging as that may sound, as difficult as that may sound, you can, by making a decision, you can become the best version of yourself. So we're going to go ahead and, if not, catch the replay. Remember to share, comment, subscribe, and support the mission financially also, if you can, whatever you can give to this mission. So one of the first things that I want to do here in this program, take any offense to that, but I still consider him a servant. You know, what is it? Well, we both served the government. I mean, not only public, well, is it public sector and government, right? You've served the government, right?
Yes.
So,
addiction they're involved in, you know, people can learn from those experiences. So instead of just going through my rehab and the steps that I've taken and then just kind of move on with life, you know, I want to be able to share that. Again, I'm not proud of that, but I want to be able to share that to touch as many people as I can, and, you know, to get the awareness out about gambling. So, I mean, that's certainly one path. And I mean, I'm going to take that path regardless of wherever else I go. But again, my mindset is I'm going to be successful. You know, the haters out there or these individuals, I use that fuels me to even be more successful, because people, again, not everyone, you know, feel that like I'm never going to amount to anything now because of my gambling, and I've lost everything and destroyed, you know, lives, and, you know, and I feel horrible for what I have done, but I own it. And I'm working on myself to become better. That's why I'm going to be successful. So I know one path is to help others, and where that other path is going to go, whether it's, you know, maybe in some type of a business, something. You know, if I attempt to, I'll just use it for example, if I attempt to open up some sort of business and that business fails for whatever reason, then you know what, I got to pick up and I'm going to go into another direction. But the whole mindset that I have is I'm going to be successful. And again, not with a dollar amount. I'm going to turn out and be a successful person. I worked my entire life to get where I was in the profession that I had. No longer I'll ever be back in that profession. So I have to pick up. Again, I'm not going to let anyone stop me and say that you cannot be successful, because again, the more people that tell me like you can't do that, it's not, you know, that's not possible. Again, it fuels me. I welcome that. You know, I don't take that. You know, I said this before when, you know, I was in law enforcement. You know, if you get 100 emails and 98 of those emails are all positive about yourself, but there's 2 emails that somebody's beating you up. So what happens is you focus only on those 2 emails. You don't even look at the other 98 that everybody was praising you for whatever you have done. The thing that you start focusing on is the negative. And then, oh my gosh, because you're so concerned. So I reverse it. Like, I'm going to take that negative and I'm going to use it to my advantage. I'm going to be positive. And I think that's what people need to do. And then you got to want it. You got to tell yourself, okay, I've had some challenges in my life. I'm a compulsive gambler. You know, a lot of things have happened, but my life's not over. You know, there is hope. And I want to be able to demonstrate that to so many people, whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, sex, it doesn't matter, whatever addiction that you may have, that there is hope regardless. You might think that there's no future. Trust me, I was there, I thought these things, but you know, again, when you talk about talking to yourself, when I was gambling, I talked myself out of getting help. Now I use that same method. I talk myself into being a better person every day. If I'm driving, if I'm, getting up in the morning, I tell myself, you're going to be successful. You can do this. No one's going to stop you. The only person that's going to stop you is yourself.
Yeah.
And if you cave in, of course, you're not going to go any farther. And so I just take that. And again, I use my addiction in my recovery. I'm 100% in recovery. I use that addiction. I can't get enough. So it's the same thing when I was gambling, just couldn't get enough. And as time went, the bets got higher, the more money, and so on. So I do the same thing for recovery with that addiction. I can't get enough. I'm constantly reading about it. This is how I came across you, Googling gambling addiction, all these different types of words, put it in the computer, found you, emailed you, started talking to you. That's the drive that I have. I've sent numerous emails to a lot of people, whether one or two gets back, but you know what? That's one or two people I've touched. And then it's just, I kind of look at it, with the way the gambling, to get that out, it's kind of like multi-level marketing, whether, some of these people want to look at those as a pyramid scam. But so I take that same concept and I'm going to put that out across the country as like an MLM to get the word out. I tell you, you tell your friend, your friend, your friend, your friend. Obviously, there's no money exchange, but my point is it reaches a lot of people. When you look at that, MLM, how many people they reach out to, because it's kind of a pyramid. And the more they reach out, the more they make. So I'm just using that concept to reach out to that many people, and it's just going to keep going and going. That's why I'm not going to just stop and say, okay, I had this issue. Again, I want to reach out to as many people as I can reach out to.
Exactly. That sounds like the mission of Soldiers of Self-Mastery. I know there's a reason why we connected. There is a reason why we connected. So let me ask you this. We're going to change just a little bit here. How did this nightmare start, Sam?
Well, again, I started gambling when I was 10. With my dad going to trap shoots. His buddies would give me money to buy pool tickets, and I don't know what the dollar amount, I don't quite remember. It's like maybe $10 or like 5 pounds of sausage. They go out and do their shooting, give me money, and I was winning. And I'm 10 years old, so 45 years ago. And I would leave there on a Sunday after the shoot, and I'd have like probably $100 in my pocket that everybody has given me because of the money that I won. Now think about that. It's a lot of money at 10 years old. It's a lot of money today at 10, but this is 45 years ago. So as time went, I started gambling. So then, and kind of fast forward a little bit in my 20s, I would go to, we had no casinos around where I was living at the time, and I would go to a riverboat. Truly started out like most people. It was entertainment. I'd take maybe $100. I'd go to the quarters, slots. I'd play that. If I lost it, I left. Life was good. I mean, that was it. I went there because it was fun. And at that time, the quarters actually dropped out of the machine. If I won, I cashed it in. I went home. Everything's good. Kind of fast forward, as some years went. I started, again, when I say this, and a lot of people take this the wrong way, I don't blame anyone who I gambled with in the past to blame them for the situation that I got myself into. But, I started meeting other people, talk about gambling. Oh, yeah, I like to gamble. And then it just, from there, as the years went, the amount of bets started increasing, and I found myself like most other gamblers, it wasn't about winning or losing. It's like, I just need to go there because you know what, this is my escape. Like, it truly was my high. I lived in a fantasy world,
Let me quick question, Sam. When you were in that state, and I don't want to be rude and cut you off, but there's something that your mindset. I mean, you are serving. That must have been very difficult for your mindset.
Oh, absolutely. Um, I mean, I go back and look at it, like kind of go back in the past, and I mean, it's truly like it's not even real. Not that I'm in denial by any means, but it's just like how did I get myself to that point in my life? And I go and I kind of rewind it, and it's like, I know there was times that, I was at the casino, and I mean, life was great. And I know this doesn't make sense to a lot of people. If you're a gambler, it makes sense. But to a lot of people, it made no sense. But that was my true high. Like I forgot about life. I forgot about any problems, anything in my life, and it was like, again, it was like a fantasy world. It was because as well, I've won money. Like this can happen. So even though I'm losing, I'm going to turn it around. Not a problem, you know. But then it didn't, and then I'm chasing, and then it even then made no sense to me. Like, okay, I'm going there knowing I shouldn't be going there, and then get there, everything's different, and then everything's going to be different. Things are going to change because I'm going to win, and life's good. And you know what? Then I'm going to quit because I'm getting to the point that I need to quit. Well, it doesn't happen that way. So, I mean, again, if you're not a gambler, an addict, it doesn't make any sense. But that's why, again, it's so important to reach out if somebody's gambling or a family member or friend, and kind of like on that line, it's just a matter of time. It took me a lot of years to crash. Where some people, it may be sooner. Things have to happen in your life a lot of times before you decide, hey, I do have a problem. Again, that's what I'm hoping to reach out to people, with my story, when I can get my story out and say, look, you're going to destroy your life. It's going to happen at some point. It's just going to happen. It can be now, it can be 10 years, 15, 20 years, but ultimately it's going to destroy your life.
Yeah, there's no tipper, even either way, because even if you win a lot of money, if you're a gambler and you come into a lot of money, your mindset is off. It's off kilter. It's not, um, it's not calibrated properly. I like to use that language. And either way, you're gonna head down a road of destruction, like you're saying, Sam. So, um, now you talked a little bit. Nah, maybe I'm not going to ask. I was just going to ask a tad bit, just a tad bit because I believe you were under a hypnotic state. And that's what I believe. All people that are problem gamblers are under that hypnotic influence. It's weird because when you go into the casino, it's a whole different world that you go into there. Even when you start thinking about it in your mind, you enter into a whole different world. It's an escape, right? It's different than other kinds of addictions because you can hide, you can do it alone, and you know, well, I guess you can do it with other people too, but it's totally different when you go home and you have to wake up by yourself that next day.
Oh, absolutely. That, when they talk about gambling addiction, when you look at the suicide rates, twice suicide rate than any other addiction. And I get it. I mean, I understand it because you go into, and I'll use, for me, it was a casino. It doesn't matter if it's, backyard game, gambling's gambling, but for me, it was a casino. So I go to the casino, whether I win, I lose, But when I leave there, that's when it crushes. I mean, it's like you're ready to give up. I mean, I've been there. I've left that casino, lost money, trying to figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, why did I do it, and said to myself, you know what? The only option I have is just to take my life. That's the only option I have. I'm never going to get out of this. I can, and you start having these crazy thoughts, if you will. Um, and so I see it because, one, if you're an alcoholic, for example, you keep drinking, what's going to happen is, one or two things. You're either going to pass out or you could ultimately die. Same with drugs. You start putting a drug into your body, either you're going to pass out or you're going to OD. If you keep continuing gambling, you're not putting anything in your body, but ultimately the gambling will kill you. People don't realize that even though you're not putting something in your body, you can keep going and going and going. And then, at some point with some people, the only way out is to end their life. But, that's not, I mean, there is hope. I understand it. That's why, again, I want to be so proactive with it because so many people have taken their own life because of it or any other addiction, because that's all they don't know. It's like, what am I going to do? They start talking themselves into it. This is the only way out. I can't get help. I mean, whatever it may be. But again, with gambling, I mean, it's deadly. I mean, it's truly deadly, even though you're not putting something in your system. It's going to, I mean, at one, you may end up taking your own life. You may end up stressing out, having a heart attack. I mean, I wondered sometimes how I even live kind of two different lives without ever stressing out and having a heart attack and dying. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, not in the greatest shape, but I'm not overweight. I mean, I am active. However, that's a lot of stress, So
Yeah.
I look back sometimes and like, I don't know how I did it, but again, there is hope. There is hope. That's not the way to fix the problem. There's always an alternative, and I'm telling you, it's a rough road. It's a tough road, but I've always said this for recovery. If it is tough and it's a hard time, then it's working.
Yeah.
Because if it's easy, then it's not working. Because you're going to face. I mean, I have days now that they're rough. It's just like, I tell myself, is this really worth it? Maybe I should just go back to gambling and say, screw it. But then I'm like, okay, that's not what I'm going to do. I've been away from it for 2.5 years. I understand I'm going to have challenges. So now I look at it, the more challenges I have, the harder I keep working.
Now, let me ask you, mindset and temptation. I know it's almost the same type of thing. Where do you find um, the battle? How do you feel that the battle can most definitely be won? Because
I mean,
it's something physical. This is physical too, but it's also
right. I mean, you gotta change your behaviors. You gotta change your mindset. You just gotta rewire yourself, if you will. And I tell myself, and again, it's not easy. I don't mean it's 5-minute class and then you're healed by any means. But first of all, you got to tell yourself you want it for yourself. And again, this is my personal opinion. If you're trying to take care of a gambling addiction for your spouse, for your kids, for your employer, whatever it may be, I personally don't think it's going to work because you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for somebody else. You got to be able to look in that mirror and say, I want to be better. I'm not going to gamble anymore. And that's what I said. Like, today I feel 100 times better than I did when I was in the middle of my active addiction, gambling, even though I'm dealing with a mountain of problems. I still feel better today than I did when I was gambling. So I remind myself that. I had to go to a recognition dinner for our work, which was held in a casino. And I can tell you this, I had to walk right by, obviously the slots,
Yeah.
blackjack is what I was mainly doing, walked right by the blackjack, and I can tell you this, it literally made me feel sick. I was like, it was not the feeling that it used to give me when I walk into a casino. But I walked in there and, I was like, wow. Like I looked around and I said to myself, this is what destroyed your life. And then I stopped myself and said, okay, this is not what destroyed your life. You destroyed your life. But it's because of the gambling.
Decisions.
Had no desire. I mean, I'm hearing people how much money they're winning, how much fun they're having. And then I just kept telling myself, ultimately, it's going to destroy your life. That's what I just tell myself. You might go down there and win thousands, but you're going to be right back tomorrow and you're going to owe thousands. But I just tell myself those things and that their life is much better without me gambling. And I just keep, and again, but I think you have to rewire yourself, and you got to want it. You got to truly want it. There's a difference in saying it than really wanting it. I mean, I hear people tell me, yeah, I want it, but they really don't. It's just, okay, maybe they got caught by their spouse or whatever. Maybe, okay, I want to fix this, but they truly don't want to. I think that's the first step in any addiction. Again, I'm not a counselor, but I think you got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, you gotta hit rock, some type of a rock bottom. I made a video some time ago, and I think I spoke about you either come to a conscious awareness or that conscious awareness is brought to you by some circumstance that could be well, in some cases it's fatal, right? And your gambling addiction is over. But if you end up in the hospital with a broken leg or some weird disease or something that really gets you to think, we shouldn't have to wait for that to happen. But unfortunately, it seems like that's what most people are waiting for. Now, you've made some really good points about keeping yourself, the attitude that you have, because coming from your situation and being in the situation that you're in, none of us really know the depth of your situation, Sam. But I've done, obviously I've done a little bit of reading and I've spoken to you, and we can pick up on people. And I can tell that you're definitely going through a very, very challenging time, but you're holding yourself up. And it is because of the things, the little life hacks that you're doing, maybe here and there, maybe not even, sometimes we're not even aware of what we do that can cause us to produce a certain lifestyle. Of course, we want to focus on the right things. We want to focus on watching, positive videos or reading a positive book or journaling, going to a meeting. For some people, they need to be in a meeting. They need to go to that meeting. It's going to help them.
Absolutely, and
but
that's what I do. I mean, I attend GA meetings. I do online meetings. I read about it. I do talks. A therapist that I work with personally, I have done talks for her, for people who are drug addicts, just to share kind of like my experience in my recovery. And anyone who has an addiction that can share their story to others, that helps them for their recovery. At least for me, when I talk about it to, whether it's a group setting, a one-on-one, but that's going to help me. That's kind of the self therapy. Again, it's a reminder. Every morning when I wake up, I don't focus on the past. But what I do is it's like kind of a quick reminder, about my gambling. That's it. And I move on with my day. I don't sit there and constantly bring it up and think about it, because that, in my opinion, I can drive you the wrong way. But what I do is just a quick reminder why I'm in the position I'm in today, how I got here. And again, I own up to it. So it's not an excuse, but I own up to it and I think about it just as a reminder, and then I move on with my day. I do, I'll exercise. I'm a believer in that. And I, especially with people, maybe that are depressed about whatever it may be, for like me, when I was going through stages of depression, I wasn't eating very well, hardly eating at all, living off of candy bars, energy drinks. Yeah, my diet was horrible. I even felt horrible, but in your mind, you feel better. But and when I went to rehab, the exercise, the mindfulness, those type of things truly help. I didn't believe that it would. Like when I even said, like, okay, why are we getting up and going and exercise at, like, it was like 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, I signed up basically to go to rehab. I didn't sign up to go to
The academy?
What's that?
The academy or the program you went to? The program.
Say it again. Yeah, the rehab. We had to exercise every day.
Wow.
Every day.
Well,
but I'll tell you,
it's needed. It's part of recovery. I believe it's a very vital part. I think people that don't have some form of exercise, whether it's deep breathing, yoga, I call them micro yoga moments. I don't care if it's just walking in place for 10 minutes or 5 minutes a day. They're missing out on something here.
Oh, absolutely. Even early on in my recovery, I had the urge, to maybe go gamble, some triggers. I've learned to deal with triggers, but I'd go for a walk or maybe just for a run. I'd just change. Okay, so I'm having these thoughts. Hey, I feel like I want to go to the casino. I might start doing push-ups or go for a walk, or maybe take a walk. And the mindfulness things that I've learned when I was in rehab. When you're walking, you see the birds, notice things. Don't just walk, but look around your surroundings, and you're going to forget about it. And then you keep doing this, it gets better and better. As time goes, it gets better. Again, you still have to work at it. And there's no, magic wand, magic pill you're going to take. Again, you got to want it. And then you look at, that's why, I've always looked for other options. I talk to people. It could be somebody who has just recently said that they have an addiction. They may say one or two things and go, wow, I want to try that. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, then you move on and try something else, So that's what my whole purpose is, just to maybe give somebody some more tools. Try it. Works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but, rehab, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Therapy, none of that. You have to look at other things, whether it's just lean on somebody to vent. If that's what gets you through, good for you. It can be just about anything. The whole key is so you don't relapse. You stay clean no matter what addiction it is, live a productive life, change your whole life. You're going to live longer, you're going to feel happier, and you're going to be successful.
That's the truth, man. That is. I want to. We're going to be winding here. Am I getting some feedback? What would you say to young people? Today we have an epidemic. We do have a lot of young people that are being impacted, Sam, and I know that you're aware of it because you've seen it out in the field. But more and more today, a lot of younger people are being impacted through cell phones, advertisement media, because obviously we're caught up. What would you say to some young people that are out there? Because I've been I've had messages sent to me from Italy. I believe it was some parts of Italy, somewhere in Europe out there someplace. Reach out to the young people. There's an epidemic. There's a lot of things going on. And what would you say to some young people that might be watching this episode, or a parent that might be a gambler?
You know, I mean, I would tell them to, you know, to Google gambling addiction, the warning signs when it comes to gambling addiction. Get educated on it. Look at some of these videos. Look or listen to some of these stories. If you listen to anyone who is a compulsive gambler, their stories are pretty much similar in certain areas. What they all have in common, they were gambling, it became out of control, and they ruined their life. I mean, obviously there's more to it, but that's basically what happens with most people who have a gambling addiction. Their lives have been destroyed somehow, whether it's a relationship, financial, all of these things, legal. I mean, the list goes on and on. Those young people, and you know, most of them, they know how to work their cell phones. They can pull up all kinds of things in a matter of seconds. But to look at that and not laugh it off, but to read about it, look at these videos, listen to these people's stories, because again, at some point, it may affect you. If you become a compulsive gambler, it will destroy your life. Now, people ask me if I'm against gambling. I'm not against gambling by any means. I think there's people out there that can gamble responsibly, as well as people that can drink. They can go out and have a couple drinks where some people can't. I'm not saying that I'm totally against it. What I'm trying to do is get the awareness, the warning signs that this can happen, and it sneaks up on you so quick, and then you're like caught in that trap. So I would just encourage, you know, parents or young people or anyone, start reading about it, as well as listening to stories. You know, these stories aren't out there. People don't put these stories out there for people to get a laugh and go, oh, that's crazy. That would never happen to me. There's a purpose to why they're putting them out, to prevent that to happening to people. Because I can tell you this, as gambling you know, more and more legalizing, you know, sport betting, I mean, it's just increasing. And a lot of it is the internet. There's going to be more and more people as the years go that are going to become compulsive gamblers. I guarantee you that. And again, you know, it's the awareness. I mean, people need to stand up who have a gambling problem and get that word out. You know, for me, you know, I kind of battled it. Like, do I really want to do this at some point? You know, my family's been through so much now. So do I really want to put my face out there again and then talk and keep reliving this whole story? But, you know, I told them, look, I saved somebody because of what I've went through, and saved somebody, family, whatever it may be. You know what? That's what it matters to me. And they understand. That's not, you know, because everything for me goes public, and you know, my family gets you know, attacked for my behavior, not fair to them. So that's why, again, you know, I want to change this. You know, I want to use my story to help. I mean, I know I've said that several times, but that's just the passion I have, because I can't guarantee you that I can get someone to stop gambling, but I can tell you this, I can guarantee you this, that I'll keep trying, and I'll work with it, whoever I can to work with, and that they'll have a much better success rate if they, again, believe in themselves, do some of the things that I've done, some other things, read about it. It will work. You will be successful.
Exactly. You're gonna be, and I can feel, you know, your passion and your honesty. You're gonna transfer, you know, right now we're live. I'm in California, and Sam is over on the East Coast. We've been two individuals. Now, Sam's life is a lot different than mine, obviously, but we both have gone through a period in our lives where we literally thought it would become the end, because I didn't have any hope for myself either when I was doing it. In fact, I didn't even want to admit that I was a gambler. I didn't want to admit that I had an addiction until my wife told me. I hid it so well. And but I struggled with it, and we've overcome the odds. You know, people right now, there's people watching this program, there's people that are going to watch this video, and they're questioning themselves. You may be in a very, very dark, you may be in a very, very, you may feel like you're underneath a rock. Okay. You're hearing it from Sam. You're hearing it from me. Of course, I'm always preaching on the airwaves, so people people know. You know, it gets easier. It gets easier, and I'm joking now about it because, you know, it was like a nightmare. It was like a dream for me. It was like a dream, and I'm listening to Sam. It was like we stepped out of a dream, and here we are, completely free. We know what it's like to be on the inside. We know what it's like to be on the outside, and we're letting you know that yes, it's possible. I'm a little bit crazier when it comes to thinking. I don't know if I'm a little bit crazier than Sam, but his job, the job that he was doing, I would probably say was pretty crazy too, in a good sense, because he was a servant, but yet he was risking his life every day. Um, I just believe that you can make up your mind. You can get away from all the clutter. You can turn off the TV, turn off the radio, get away from people, just become selfish enough to really focus on you, to tell yourself, you know what, I can do this. I can beat this addiction. I can win over this. You know, if Santos and Sam and Laura and Jim and these other individuals that, uh, well, I call everybody a soldier of self mastery, because we are. We, a soldier is an individual that is dedicated to bettering himself. That's what a soldier of self mastery is. An individual, a woman, or a man that is dedicated to a better lifestyle, whether it's turtle speed or whether it's Shazam speed, you know. And that's the way I look at this. I try to become creative with my mind, because the more creative that we become, the more we lose energy, the more that we lose our imagination, answers, and almost like um, powers that we didn't know we have begin to arise within us. And you know, we don't have to keep doing all of these. Like I started YouTube. It's a video therapy for myself. That's how I started this program, right? Video therapy, when I began my journey of trying to break free from fears and all this other junk. So I'm good at, you know, what I do with videos. I'm not the best, but you find your niche, man, and then you just improve on it, and you just keep working. It gets easier for you. Eventually it's like, wow, I'm not gambling anymore. I don't even think about it that much anymore. But yet, you know, we do maintain our service unto others, because that's how we keep getting stronger and growing, when we are now servicing others, giving hope, transform, like Sam is doing, transforming his life. If you hang around with Sam long enough, if you hang around with him long enough, I don't know if you'll have the privilege to do that one on one, and you're a problem gambler, there's two things: either you're going to change or you're going to run. That's my little bit there. You want to share
You know, I
anything
look at it,
before we get ready to close up the program?
I think with the way I look at it is, okay, if you're driving down the road and you come up to the intersection, you can go left, which is your addiction, or you can go right, to which is going to be recovery. Going to the left is easier. There's nothing in your way. You just go left and you're in your addiction. You go to the right, you're going to have some roadblocks. But I can tell you this, you get past the first roadblock, you come up to the second one. You get around that one. As you keep going, those roadblocks are going to move away. Now you're going to have a straight road, just like you would to the addiction. But if you go to the left, you're right in that addiction. It's easy for any addict to go that way. I was there. And, you know, I'm not saying trying to be negative, but it's easier. We would not be an addict, but it's easier again to go that way. I just challenged myself that I'm going to hang a right. Never done this before, but you know what? That's where I use that addiction to get through that recovery. And as I keep going, it becomes easier. Do I still have challenges? Absolutely. Am I going to have challenges 5 years from now? Certainly, but it's going to be easier because of the things that I learn, the things that I do. You know, okay, I run into this issue, you know, I mean, you could be clean for 5, 10 years. One thing in your life, something happens, that can force you to go back. It truly can. But if you start dealing with it, you're going to know how to deal with that to not go back, whether it's gambling, alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, because you have been traveling down that road of recovery and you haven't looked back. You're looking forward, and then you will be successful. I mean, I'm just a firm believer in that. Are there going to be challenges? Absolutely. I'm not saying it's easy. By no means am I saying it's easy. Do people relapse? Absolutely. But you know what? Then you got to learn from that. Why did you relapse? What happened? And deal with that, and then get back on that road. You know, some people, when they relapse to whatever it may be, that's when people give up. Oh, you said you were going to never do this again. That's why it's important to be with people who are experiencing that addiction, who are going to help you get through it, as opposed to telling you, well, you said that you would never do this again, when they haven't been in your shoes. Again, that's how I thought. That was my mindset before. It's not like that now. And again, that's why that message has to get out there. People with an addiction can be successful. Definitely can be successful. We just have, not everyone, but a lot of people that have an addiction or already have that mindset, I'm never going to be somebody. I can't. You constantly are beating yourself up. Of course you're not going to be going down that right road because you're telling yourself that you're not going to do it. So therefore, you're not going to do it. You got to get out of that mindset. And once you do, you're going to look back and go, thank you. I'm glad I'm on this road because now I feel better. I'm healthier. I'm back with my family or whatever the situation may be. Now you are going to be a successful person. You can reach out and change somebody's life. We keep doing this, eventually we're going to change a lot of lives, as well as the awareness to get that out so people don't even become an addict. So it's a kind of a two-part. We're going to do the awareness as well as take care of those people who have an addiction. I don't care what addiction it is. You can overcome that. No doubt in my mind, you can overcome that. Again, you got to believe in yourself. That's the first step.
Exactly. Another thing that we're going to be winding down here. I want to thank each and every one of you guys that have been on this episode on Facebook. I've had people watching. Hopefully they could hear the episode. Hopefully they've been able to hear, because there's been some people on Facebook. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys, and I hope that you've gotten something out of this, because this is a real thing that we're facing. It is an epidemic. We've got a lot of young people that are getting hooked. We've got older people, military, service people. It doesn't matter. I was watching a video a couple weeks ago about a military officer that lost everything. High-ranking military officer. I don't think he was a U.S. officer. I think he was a Canadian officer. But this happens. And here's the thing. All of this culminates, listening to Sam, and of course, listening to other teachers, it really boils down to this, that the battle, you have to you have to win the battle in your mind. The battle, you know, we can get caught up with thinking about the casinos and the cards. I got to stop doing the other thing. I got to stop the sports betting. I got to start doing the thing is that how do I conquer it in my mind? That's where the battle needs to be won. I'm often reminded of a verse in the book of in the New Testament, Romans 12. It talks about being renewed in the spirit of your mind. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. There's another verse that talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So you got to conquer that thought. And once you conquer that thought, you're going to conquer without. And in any area in life, once you conquer what it is that's bothering you, we're so caught up, like putting band-aids on putting band-aids on something instead of dealing with the tear in the skin. Why did it get tear? What's underneath there? What's causing it? No, we'll just put a band-aid on it. No, you got to get to that root. And once you get to that root, the behavior, the lifestyle seems to disappear almost magically. So that's my 2 cents in this program. I want to thank each and every one of you guys that have joined. I couldn't get any questions on air. Maybe Google Hangout, YouTube might have changed things up. They're always, you know how Facebook and all of these things, you got to be kind of careful. They're always messing with the mechanics of the programming and what you can and can't do and stuff. So I kind of feel like I've been in the blind here on this episode, a little different than the other ones, but I've enjoyed it. I've learned a lot talking with Sam. Definitely look forward to hearing more about what's happening in Sam's life. Again, we're very similar in nature. We want to help others. We want to share our story. We want to create hope. I want to do things, and I'm sure Sam wants to do the same thing. I want to do things for problem gamblers and even addicts or people that are struggling with different issues. I want to do something different. I believe I am doing something different through my YouTube, Instagram, my books, my problem gambling breakthrough academy. I'm trying to do things that have not been done before for people like that. I'm sure Sam would probably agree. Maybe he feels the same way because there's a lot of stuff out there that's kind of repetitive. So we got to kind of find ways to inspire people, think differently, try something differently. Like Sam says, hey, maybe reading books doesn't help or watching videos, but maybe journaling will. Maybe talking to yourself to the maximum will help you. I don't know, And of course, I offer coaching, one-on-one personalized coaching. If you want to take me on as your coach to help you achieve your goals, help you get there faster, I do offer that. That's a personal investment. Anything else you want to share before we close? And we are closing at this point. We're going to close the program. We're challenging you to challenge yourself and give yourself permission because you can, my friend. So, Sam, last words, and then I'm going to stop the broadcast.
I just want to say thanks, and I just hope somebody takes something that I've said, and hopefully it will change their life or someone they know.
Well, with that said, strength. I'll see you on the next episode at the very top on the inside. Please comment, share, give me a thumbs up. If you have a question for Sam, you can post it in the comments. I'm sure that we can get in touch with Sam to maybe answer a question for you, and look forward to his book in the near future and his progress and breakthroughs in whatever direction they are. That's what I hope for Sam and the rest of us that are on this journey of recovery, this journey of growing, growing, growing through life's journey, temptations, challenges, and breakthroughs. So, what else did I want to see? Peace, restraint. I salute you. Until my next episode, I'll see you. What is it? Either Sunday or Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, with another Sunday or Friday night live power hour with your host, Soldier of Self Mastery. Peace. All right, Sam.
Thank you.
We will see you on